All right, welcome. This is the Something About You podcast. I am Kent Lindstrom. I am your host today, the director of the Oakland Digital Arts and Literacy Center.
Yes.
I told myself that this podcast was complete if I said that right. And that's Oakland Digital.
It is, and I just watched an interesting YouTube video of Khaled, DJ Khaled, or who's a producer out in Florida, and he's like, "This is going to be the best interview ever." And I'm saying that right now.
I'm ready.
This is going to get all the hits. This is going viral.
So the sad thing is, I'm like Larry King now. I was so focused on getting, not saying, I was going to say Odelk, and it's supposed to be Oakland Digital.
Oakland Digital,
and I was ready to, I worked so hard on that. That's all I have.
Okay.
So we're done.
We're done. Let's do it.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
We are in. We are in Oakland. Let's talk. I want to talk a little bit about Oakland.
Yeah.
I want to understand how that fits into Silicon Valley. I want to talk about what you guys are doing. I want to talk about all kinds of stuff. It's so good to see you, by the way.
Hey, great to see you. There's a lot of news that's been happening, not just with Oakland Digital, but with Oakland, everything in the Bay Area. And I wanted to shout you out first, and we'll probably get into it later, but you were on the Google Hangout.
Yeah.
With the team at google.org, and you were acting as a senior advisor for Oakland Digital's Bridge for Social Good platform, which after that interview we got funded for, and we'll get into that later.
Which is fabulous news. Yeah. And that's one of the things I want to untangle. There's so many acronyms here. Mm-hmm. If we had a quiz at the end of this and said, okay, what's the name of your organization? What's the name of Google's initiative? Yeah. People would kind of blank over, and yet there's this positive thing. So kind of laying this out. Yeah. If you look at Silicon Valley, there's sort of a parallel world of people trying to do good things.
Yes.
The nonprofit world.
Yes.
And I feel like it takes on its own kind of special form here in the Valley, what people are trying to accomplish. And when I say Silicon Valley, for those of you around the world who are listening, is sort of this area roughly, initially it was literally a valley with orchards between San Jose and San Francisco. But largely known as the place where institutions of higher learning like Stanford and Berkeley is over here.
What's Stanford?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know that.
So on this side of the Bay, the great institution, well, there's many of them, but one of them is the University of California at Berkeley. Yeah. And so I when I say Silicon Valley, if you want to take me to podcast court, maybe Oakland's not in it, I consider Oakland to be part of that.
Absolutely.
And there's all these organizations, and what you guys are doing is just an amazing thing. And I want to get a sense of how do you decide that you're not going to go work at Twitter, Google, or a tech startup and do this. Yeah. One path being that people get fabulously wealthy, and then they, so you probably got fabulously wealthy doing something, and then decided to do this, right?
I'll be honest, man. I'm wealthy from social capital. I'm wealthy from the people that I'm around every day. Two people that you just met, Dawes and Michelle. And I'm actually inspired every day by my team. And that's not just me saying. Legitimately, everyone that I roll with, they're my gang. Yeah. That's my gang, is everyone I roll with. Take it back. The mindset of a state level school, and for everyone around the world, a state school is Cal State East Bay, San Jose State. So state schools. What you were talking about, Berkeley and Stanford, these are kind of, you graduate and start a company.
Right.
State schools, you graduate and you get a 9-to-5. I'm generalizing, by the way. Yeah. Because the mindset at state, including what they fed to me, shout out to Cal State East Bay, I was alumnus of the year. Mm-hmm. So shout out to Dr. Leroy Morishita, who's the president. But I will say the 9 out of 10 students that graduate the state school will get a 9-to-5 and be perfectly happy. And in 20 years, they'll be doing that 9-to-5. Yeah. So when I speak at these places and I go visit these great companies, everyone's at that thing called Stanford or that thing called UC Berkeley. Yeah. And I might be the only person in the whole room that's went to a state school. Right. So it's about the mindset. Now, I often say the mindset is greater than the skill set. Yeah. In fact, you can teach skills to most people. We'll get to that later as well. But
I agree. It's funny you say that about your team, by the way. I should have. We were interviewed recently.
My gang.
Your gang.
My gang.
Oh, you're cool.
Call it the gang.
See, you're way cooler than I am. So yes, it's my podcast, so I'll talk about myself.
Yeah,
I realize I'm about to do that. Yeah. We were interviewed recently by this woman from El País, which is this big Spanish-speaking newspaper. And she was like, one of her questions, she interviews companies in Silicon Valley, was like, what perks does your company have? So many companies have fruit juice and all that kind of crap, whatever. That's one of her questions.
You're telling me that the Red Bull I get at Twitter when I stuff it in my bag, that's not good? Well, because I left with probably food for a month. Wait, is Twitter listening?
That's true.
Wait a minute.
And probably the people at Facebook think it's not that good or whatever. And she was like, what do you guys have? We're like, water, coffee. We have air conditioning.
Wait, you're sweating right now, so you know we don't have air conditioning.
That's a big benefit. Yeah. But it is funny, like showing up every day and. Yeah, it's the team.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get to hang out with 3 people that I come into work. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm glad to see that guy. I mean, that's, screw the.
Yeah. Let's get to the Bridge app really fast, and I'll get into the details later. But essentially, what it does is it connects lower income students in the multimedia and digital arts to local jobs.
Yeah.
And it's a platform that scales Oakland Digital's work of bridging the digital literacy and opportunity divide.
Yeah.
Connects the businesses to the students, helps the students because they get opportunity in resume skills and portfolio pieces, helps the businesses because they get collateral they need, digital assets and so forth.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things about that whole platform was for 7 months when we were planning it, you included, by the way, was on that team. And I pulled up the screen when we made the formal announcement that we got the 6-figure grant support. And I pulled up the screen behind me before I told the whole group here sitting in this room, hey, we got funding from google.org. And I looked at the screen and it was 6 rows of people's faces.
Yeah.
Yours was on there.
Yep.
And I'm going to show you as proof.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, none of those people were paid.
Yeah. Right.
Not one of those people were paid. Yet collectively, that the money in terms of thought leadership, the value in genius is probably more than anyone on this planet can afford. And I'm saying that to say this, that money does not drive people.
Yeah, that's right.
And if it does, you're in the wrong industry.
Yeah.
Because you look at Facebook, it was not started for money. You look at most companies, one of my favorite friends, most of those were not started for money. And if they were, they're a gimmick that was meant to be sold.
Yeah.
And I will go on record of saying, I'm living my dream job right now.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I don't have a lot of money in the bank.
Right.
But I'm richer than anyone I know.
Right. When you get to wake up and help people every day.
Absolutely.
So how do you find the... Well, I want to go back to something. So let's talk about the state schools and how that works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So would this be correct? So I worked at Deloitte and Touche back in the day.
Yeah.
And at some point, we did not... And so Deloitte and Touche is a great consulting firm, but it's not, Bain, and then Bain's not McKinsey, and McKinsey's not Goldman Sachs, or whatever.
What's a consult? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
What is a consult?
It's people you pay to tell you to do what you're going to do anyway.
Consult, yeah.
So at some point, Deloitte didn't recruit out of Stanford and Harvard.
Right.
Because what would happen is people would show up and they'd be like, I spent 6 months working with my senator, and then I want to spend 6 months in Zimbabwe, and then the people from like San Jose State, would show up and they'd be like, I am just happy to be in a job that has freaking air conditioning, and pays me. Are you kidding? This is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so is it generally true that like the state school people tend to be maybe a little bit more local, like they came from the neighborhood state? And
when I just spoke at San Jose State in front of 50, 60 students, 80% I would say were women of color.
Yeah.
Half were Latino.
Right.
So you're getting people of color, you're getting people with very rich cultural diversity, and I don't just mean race, I mean life experiences, single parents and so forth. Yeah. And then I went to speak to...
Single parents, like...
they have kids themselves.
They're students,
They're students that have kids, and they're probably single for the most part. Yeah. Cal State East Bay, I learned that 70% of the... first generation college students were women of color too. So you're having a tremendous percent of women of color, tremendous amount of people of color, if not 90%, in terms of first generation college students. And so they don't have connections to Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And I'll take it even a step further. They don't have connections to professional jobs. They're used to standard 9-to-5s. So to get your foot in the door at any of these tech companies, and forget tech, any kind of professional experience is very valuable.
Yeah, they were not born on third base.
They were not born with that handout.
Yeah.
And that's why when either San Jose State or Cal State East Bay, both my alma maters, invites me to come speak, I drop everything. Yeah. Because I know that if I can help one of those students and impact one of those students, I'll be rich forever.
So what's the problem? What's the missing link? First person, great in my person of color, gets into going to San Jose State, probably getting something straight A's or B's, and told great. Why isn't the career going to just proceed from here?
I think it's two things, and Bridge actually solves a big part of that. So Diego Saldana is one of our students from this year that graduated, born and raised in East Oakland.
Which is Bridge?
Which is Inspire Oakland, which that program with our small business program is what created Bridge, the need for Bridge.
Okay, great.
So he is a graphic designer, 26, had never had a job in design. In fact, had never been able to hold a steady job that's professional, needed the experience. So he came into Oakland Digital. He got paired with a local business called KJ Auto Body in East Oakland, doing their social media, doing their logo, doing a lot of their collateral, got that experience, and now wants to join Bridge. So now he can keep making money doing something he loves.
Right.
Versus getting a 9 to 5 to pay the bills, e.g. at a fast food restaurant, which is very real. What did he need? Well, he needed the inspiration. He needed to be surrounded by a team of people that treat him like a professional.
Yep.
He also needs to be around a group of people that believe in what he wants to do. I'll give you another great example. So Bridge for Social Good got funding to get built in the next 3-4 months. We need an engineer. So being a nonprofit, Kent, we looked at those groups that teach people how to code.
Yeah.
Right? That's great. It's hot.
Yeah.
It's the hottest thing right now.
Yeah.
Coding. 0 replies.
Really?
We're like, every group you can think of, I'm not gonna call anyone out. We said, yo, you guys create coders. Fantastic. We'll pay.
Right.
We have money. We want to pay a coder.
Right.
Crickets.
Really?
Because the problem with that is for the most part, you're telling young people that have never been exposed to engineering or coding, you can code because you can be the next Mark Zuckerberg. So they're blinded with the money. Back to the money issue.
Yeah.
And that's a problem that if you talk to coders at Berkeley, at Stanford, that are really coders, by the way, building a website does not make you a coder.
No, right.
Building a Wix site does not make you a coder. That makes you interested in websites.
Right.
So the reason we couldn't find anyone is because these programs are teaching you, here, go to a hackathon and come up with a great idea, and they pitch, quite honestly, a half-ass project that can never be built, that makes no sense, and it never does get built. Generalizing, by the way. So quoting me here. Yeah. And so the problem is that when we need an actual coder with skills, we can't hire these people because they're being fed it in a way that is the wrong way.
Right.
And so back to your original question of how do we bridge these gaps? It's by taking what these young people love doing that's in their heart.
Yeah.
And in our case, it's multimedia creative services.
Yeah.
Every young person loves art. They love graphic design. They love things that are visual.
Yeah.
Right? That's why Instagram's so popular.
Yeah. And so what the hell is that coding thing? So this is like a really interesting, I have a nuanced point of view on this.
Yeah.
So the people I know who came up and became coders, like the founder of my company, but take Steve Jobs.
Yeah, we might need to hire that guy, by the way.
Exactly. Take Steve Jobs as somebody everybody knows. Well, he's not really a coder, but that class of people, Nathan Myhrvold and the guys who invented many of the things, the Google guys, they weren't encouraged to code by society. They were actually, I will argue, discouraged from sitting indoors all day at their computers. Were encouraged to go out and play sports. Yeah. And they went up into their, Dungeons and Dragons and their world, and it was something that they were passionate about, and they did.
Yep.
The narrative has sort of changed into this idea that all these young men were somehow pushed, almost like it was sport. But I remember when I'm older, but when I was young, the people who were coding were not encouraged. They were doing it in spite of everybody else.
Yeah, my mom, I remember when I was a kid, would say, Shaun, you should be doctor. And that's what she sounds like. You should be lawyer or architect. I did get my architectural master's degree. But the point of me saying that is take coding out of the equation and replace it with being a doctor, being a lawyer, being an architect. Yeah. You can't force young people to be anything. Yeah. We were at a STEM Institute event where allegedly all of these students were going to get into engineering and science. Yeah. So we took an actual assessment of all the people that came by the table. 15%, maybe 16% said they wanted to be engineers and coders. Yeah. We asked why. They said, I don't know. I was told you can make a lot of money. Now that is detrimental. Yeah. And especially when we need to hire someone and we go to these places to actually employ someone and they just don't even reply to us. Yeah. Essentially what that tells me is they're not qualified. Right. So what kind of tech world do you want? Unqualified people? I want to support people of color. I am about that. That's what we do. Right. But I also don't want to mislead people. And I also want to make sure that they're qualified. Yeah. So saying Diego's going to get a job right away, is not realistic. But to say that his life hasn't changed because of the skills he's learned with Oakland Digital, absolutely he has. But he still needs more experience. And that's me being realistic.
Yeah.
That he's going to need another few years of experience before he can get a job or in tech or not in tech. That's his choice.
Right.
But we brought him to Twitter. We brought him to Google. He interacted with our board of directors, Tim, who you've interviewed before. He's interacted with other designers.
Yeah.
He's pitched his design to the president of Cal State East Bay. These are skills and experiences that no one can take away from him.
Yeah.
That's how you change people.
Yeah, maybe I'm being nuanced about it.
No, that's why
it's interesting you bring up the thing about the doctors too. Because there's a whole class of people whose mothers and fathers wanted them to become doctors, and they're doctors and they're miserable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I went to college, I went to Northwestern liberal arts school. Basically, I was like, "Oh, chemistry is really cool." I took a chemistry class. I was like, no,
absolutely,
wait,
no, it's just
not my
nothing,
thing.
Yeah.
I am not going to have the energy to go through that. And computers, I loved, but I took a Fortran class. And I was like, I don't have that thing to sit for 40 hours.
Yeah.
But economics, I got that. Shakespeare, I could read that stuff for hours. And so it just seems to me to take that the people who were the first generation of engineers, they really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And maybe now this sort of like, hey, everyone should code is a little weird. Like
95, 96, I signed up on GeoCities. So you know I'm legit, okay? And I had Instant Messenger. I created the import racing chat room. I used to be into cars.
By the way, GeoCities, a bunch of linked profiles. Not the craziest idea.
That was dope.
At the end of the day, right?
GeoCities.com/MotorCity/76665.
Nice.
I memorized it and I didn't even practice that.
I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, and the point of me bringing that up is we had a car club before the Fast and Furious, and we ended up being in the Fast and Furious. But the point is that moment of, hey, we should get our car club a website. I went to the local community college and I built the site, not because I wanted to be a coder, but because I wanted to build a site.
Yeah. Right.
And so I think for me, I'm not a coder. I know HTML5, CSS, parallax websites and so forth, but I'm not a coder. That just means I want to get shit done.
Yeah.
And I want to build something cool. And I think if a young person wants to build something cool, great. Push them towards that, or lead them to that, or expose them to that, but never force anyone to do anything.
Yeah.
Let them choose on their own, just like I did with building a website, just like I do now, just like we're here together.
Yep.
You're like, Shaun, I'm just going to come through, bring my Focusrite little audio adapter, plug it into my MacBook, and let's just record.
Let's just make this thing happen.
You just wanted to do it.
Yep.
You're not trying to be an audio engineer. You want to get something done.
That's right.
And that's what Oakland Digital wants to do for young people is take their creative background, expose them to professional experiences, connect them with businesses, help the local economy, and just bridge many gaps.
Well, what I really like about that, one of the things that's always struck me once I, kind of got out of college and in the workforce is that, young people have this view, and I don't have a solution, but the issue is that young people have this there's this view of the world like your mom. There's doctors, there's lawyers, there's astronauts, and there's firemen. There's like 5 things you can be.
Sure.
So that's why people go to law school and all these things. But there's a billion things you can be.
Yep.
Being an actuary is probably, insurance where you figure out the risk of things. That's probably pretty cool for the right person.
For the mindset of someone, that's
and so when you look at people, you should go into tech and get rich. I mean, Steve Jobs got very rich. He actually was not an engineer.
Well, how many Steve Jobs are there? I mean,
but in every company, like Google is mostly not engineers. Google is mostly salespeople.
Yeah.
So at some point, it's almost like you want to say to somebody, look, if you want technology is a
by the way, that's interesting what you just said. I mean,
that Google's mostly not engineers.
right. I mean, it's sales. I mean, that's why they make money, revenue.
And Mark Andreessen says that, points that out all the time. And so if you look at a tech company, for example, I've been somewhat successful. Well, not
really. You have okay. I just thought you were just a random guy that came by.
Lucky enough to work at Friendster with Jonathan Abrams, our founder, which was not the success that Facebook subsequently became.
Well, it was a success for me. That's what got me into social networking.
Well, that's great. And so
that's a huge success.
But if you look at these companies, like guys like Gideon Yu is incredibly successful, wealthy, and he was a CFO. He was a finance guy, but he was a finance guy at Facebook. And so if you're a young person and you want to be in tech, there's one path as being an engineer for sure, great path. There's also the path of being a salesperson.
Sure.
If you have that personality, if you get energy from talking to people. If you like finance, there's a whole HR. Companies are starved for HR people. If you like the complexity of human interaction, so it's kind of interesting. What I would hope doesn't happen. What I hope does happen is that some person of color who doesn't have the money gets access to what they need to fall in love with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if that's what they want to do, I think that's fantastic. One of the things we did last year was a series called Evolution of the Music Business, where we brought students from East and West Oakland from partnering nonprofits to Pandora.
Okay.
And we expose them not just to the artists that they love and musicians they love, but also radio personalities. Shout out to DC of KML 106.1. And also then the access to music analysts, salespeople, HR people at Pandora. And when I said my piece of advice is not to become a rapper,
right,
in the room, everyone went silent. Like, did he just tell us not to be a rapper?
And
I'm like, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to come up here and BS you guys. Statistically, no one in this room will make it as a rapper or a famous singer or rapper or whatever you want to be. And I think it goes very similar to coding. Right? Can young people of any color become a coder? Yes. Do you have to absolutely love it and it to be in your heart? Absolutely. Do I want to create personally a culture of half-ass anything?
Yeah.
Of, you know a little bit of Ruby, doesn't mean you're going to get paid for it.
Yeah.
And even right now, as we're hiring, I'm not saying I want to know a coder that can do a little.
Yeah.
I'm saying we want a full stack that A, B, C, and D, and that has experience working at A, B, and C, and D. And we had a senior engineer, Gert, who's on our team, write up the job description with Tim.
Right.
And we have like 13 candidates, but we're looking for the best one. And I think it's very similar in tech. They're not just going to hire you because you know a little bit.
Yeah.
And that goes to my point of, I'm going to be the best executive director I can be. You're going to be the best. What's your current COO?
Right. COO.
The COO of Nuzzle.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what I expect every young person to do is take what they love and be the best at it.
Yeah.
Don't do it for any other reason.
Well, and I think, you need to absolutely draw energy from it.
Yeah.
If you look at Bill Clinton, clearly draws energy from being out. You know, people go, how could you be a politician?
Yeah.
He couldn't, no, whatever the hell you say, could not be a politician. Like,
No.
he's drawn
He's
to
a
it.
boss.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So if you find yourself not wanting to stay up all night to figure out some coding problem, it just might not be your thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the people I know who do it, they'll work all night. Like, I did these 2 extra things because, look, I can do this cool thing. Like, they're drawing energy from it. But it's just weird when you get these sort of, and I know that the intentions are good, but I'll make fun of it.
And you're right. I will say this. To take everything in context here is, I respect anyone that's trying to improve people's lives.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's nothing negative, but I'm also very realistic, and I've also been in the streets literally for the past 6 years, really seeing what young people do. We had 2 interns from a local nonprofit we took on. Both 19, both formerly incarcerated. First thing they do when they walk through the door, Kent, look for housing. So you're going to tell, because they're foster children.
Oh, okay,
so they're looking for homes.
Yes, right.
Think about that. How can you tell a 19-year-old kid, I don't care what color they are, read lines of code for 10 hours a day?
Yeah.
And you'll be a Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Absolutely absurd, ridiculous.
Yeah.
So my point is, if they wanted to, great, let them do it. But don't misinform the people.
Yeah.
Listen to the kids, as Kanye says. Listen to the kids.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I interviewed an African American executive, and we talked about he went to Stanford, and he's like, there were relatively few of my people from my class went to of the black people went to become entrepreneurs, but when he goes to his reunion, they're all real wealthy. They're working at Goldman Sachs and McKinsey and all that.
And you're talking about from Stanford.
From Stanford.
God, of course, yeah.
So I was like, what does that mean? Like, black people in entrepreneurship. He's like, look, here's probably what's going on, is that if you grew up in a certain environment, and you were looking, housing was your number one priority, this, that, and the other thing, and you managed to figure out how the hell to get to Stanford, and Goldman Sachs came along and said, I'll pay you $900,000 a year, you take the damn job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
He's like, with all due respect to Mark Zuckerberg, that guy never had a thought that he wasn't going to have housing and a job and all that.
Exactly.
So risk taking's real easy.
Well, you're talking about necessity, right?
Yeah.
Necessity and opportunity, which most young people of color do not have.
Yeah.
And then getting back to our earlier conversation, that's historically who attends state and community colleges.
That's right.
It's real life, man. And I think we're in a bubble. I'm very blessed to have friends like you friends like my mentor, Dr. Andreas Weigand and MC Hammer, that the spectrum. So, someone like those young people I was telling you about, formerly incarcerated at 19, I have people like that I know. And then I have people like you that I know.
Yeah.
And I think I have a very unique perspective. And I feel very blessed to be almost neutral, understanding of all sides.
Yeah.
And we have lights flickering, which means the power is real.
Oh, yeah.
The power is real here. The power is real.
That's okay. I think we're all battery operated. It doesn't matter.
Oh, fantastic.
Except for my headphones, but that's fine.
No, yeah. It's amazing because I think back to why I started Oakland Digital. And I remember after getting my master's in architectural and urban design, I left a great opportunity to be an architectural drafter.
Right.
To start a hip hop show on YouTube.
Nice.
And most people, if we go back to 2007, would say, Shaun, you're absolutely nuts.
Right.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I got into tech. Was I started this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
With my business partner Ray Love, who I listened to growing up. He was a rapper.
Yeah.
Santa Rosa, and I went to high school in Santa Rosa. I had purchased raylove.com.
Right.
And I put this beautiful girl in it.
Yep.
And I was just a fan. I wasn't trying to get money from him or anything.
Yeah.
His manager calls me and says, "Hey, Ray loves that photo. Wants to know who she is." And I'm like, "Cool, can I meet him?" And I meet him, and I'm like, I love video on the side. And he's like, "Let's do this hip hop show, man." And we went all over the state, even country, actually, interviewing rappers and hip hop artists. And we got 14 million views in a year. For 2007, that was a big deal. And this is when World Star Hip Hop, we actually came out before them. And to that point of World Star Hip Hop, I started noticing that, unfortunately, most of the rappers that I was running into and really being immersed in this lifestyle were pimps and or doing things of illegal nature.
Yeah, right.
Of illegal nature.
Yeah.
ILL.
Right.
And quite honestly, I wasn't with that.
Right.
And I saw the power that YouTube had on young people, specifically 13 to 18 of people of color. And I said, how do we take this technology and do something very cool? And that's how we finally evolved to tech for good, connecting young people to opportunities.
That's incredible.
And so it really started from this hip hop show. So I just feel like Oakland Digital is the best nonprofit in the world. I just feel like the game that we have, the perspective we have, it's just so real. It's we can't be touched.
Yeah.
Like Hammer, we can't be touched.
Yeah.
And I say that to say this, when Kanye's going nuts and he's screaming and just going ballistic he has swag, he has power.
Yeah.
And if you don't own it, you're gonna be on your deathbed going, damn, I should have went a little Kanye. Or I should have went a little Bill Clinton. I should have went a little whatever you want to be in this world. I mean, life is too short, man. You got to go for it full force.
Oh, well, that's right, and that's a great way to surf that wave. That story from going, hey, I'm going to be a hip hop star.
Yeah.
Well, okay, maybe that didn't quite work out.
Right.
Although we're not done yet.
Yeah. I'm still trying to do it.
But then go, there's an angle here that's like being an actuary. It's not the hip hop. And so I did a lot of theater at Northwestern.
By the way, super important.
Yeah.
I think I'm acting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like if you don't know how to act and speak and communicate, I almost would go back and tell young people, even now, whoever's listening, I don't care how old you are or how young you are, take a writing class. Yep. Take an acting class.
Yeah.
And then take a photo or audio class.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are all three things you'll need no matter what.
Yeah. Because if you take an acting class and you learn improv and you're really uncomfortable with all that, okay, you're not going to be an actor. Yeah. Or you think you're going to be an actor and you're one of the billion people who aren't. Well, now when you have a job in whatever the hell you're doing, you're going to be pretty good at public speaking. Absolutely. Or a little bit better at public speaking, and that'll advance your career. Yeah. Or you'll do a podcast or whatever. And so, it's the whole other thing is the arts in the schools. But if you can do arts when you're young, understanding that you're probably not going to be, maybe, but you're probably not going to be a pop star. Yeah. A lot of good things come from it.
There's a guy named Doug the Architect who I didn't know who he was, but he was following me on Instagram. Yeah. And he would always like my stuff. And one day he's like, oh, hey, I'm in Oakland. Turns out he works at Gensler. He's one of the head creatives there. And he posts photos of every weekend him drawing with his daughter. And I think that's just such a beautiful reminder that simple things go a long way.
Well, there's the availability too. And,
absolutely.
What the hell do I know about? I don't have kids, so about parenting. But people so many times the story of computers is somebody's like, oh yeah, as a kid, yeah, my dad brought home this thing. And I started playing with it. And how many musicians do you hear? You know, when I was a kid, my mother had a guitar and we listened to these records and that kind of thing. And it's not that people were pushed into the things. Yeah. It was that there was the availability of the asset. Most famously, Bill Gates was like one of the few humans in the world who had access to that kind of a computer as a teenager in 1976 or whatever the hell it was. And he even says this. Yeah. And he's like, look, if 100,000 kids had it, my odds were low.
Yeah.
So I do like the access. I just have this in my head, this funny thing about people like, you should code, you know? I came down from the office tower in San Francisco and you know, you'd be off the streets if you could code.
You know, it's really interesting because I feel like I was privileged. You know, my mom did come here in her late 20s from Taiwan.
Okay, yeah.
And the first job she had was actually a maid. And so she was cleaning toilets for a family. And she tells me this and how they treated her like shit.
Oh, man.
You know, and so, but she, after my dad passed away at 2 months old, when I was 2 months old, she turned around her furniture business from just cookie cutter to custom furniture and had her own factory, became very successful. So I think I got all of my game from her. Like being very, being very mindful of people who don't have opportunity, to also helping entrepreneurs, small businesses, to also, you know, here's another story. I'll tell another story after this, but the point of me bringing up my mom is that she bought me an Apple IIe.
Yeah.
You know, and so when you brought that up, and I remember following the printer and thinking how fast that printer was. And I feel very privileged for that. Even though my mom worked her ass off, I myself feel privileged. And I want to give opportunities like that to most young people that don't have it. And going to another point of racism, of discrimination. And I remember 1 month, we had a business here in Oakland, 26 and Broadway. For 1 month, every day, her windows were getting shattered for 1 month. This is in the early 80s, mid 80s.
Yeah.
And so at 2, 3 a.m. we'd have to go there and clean up before she had scissor gates. And, you know, I was like, man, why do black people do this? Yeah. Because every time they catch a black person. And my mom said, Shaun, there's bad people of all color. And I think that was the turning point for me of understanding and not being a racist,
right?
And being culturally aware and culturally sensitive and understanding social and racial justice.
Yeah,
and,
the evils of people thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just people are bad. And so since then, like one of my most proud moments is just this idea that black people and Asian people should work together in Oakland, and we're very powerful communities, and we need to work together. And so if you look at the constituents of Oakland Digital, we're inclusive of every color.
Yep.
And we never wanted to be, and shout out to the board of Oakland Digital, we never want to be a group that says only black, only Asian, only Latino. And I'm very proud of that. It's not great for funding because people like to fund that singular kind of movements, but I'm very proud of that we were never trying to be a gimmick. We're just trying to help people.
So the now isn't the perception that Asian is not it doesn't have as difficult a time as African American.
Oh man, like Asians.
I'll say it.
There's a lot of trauma in Asian communities. There's Cambodian. There's Southeast Vietnamese. Even a lot of Chinese. You can't just say you're Chinese and you're privileged. But I will say one thing about Asian people in general is they have very strong communities. And that is something that might give us a leg up. But in terms of opportunity, we don't always have opportunity. But I also believe that in the real world, you need to be able to work with different people.
Yeah, that's right.
Different races. And that's another reason why we don't want to push one race only. Because when you're working in the workforce, not just tech, you're working with people of all colors.
Yeah.
Or hopefully in the future, more color.
That's amazing. Your mom was an entrepreneur, basically, right?
Oh, she still is, you know. She still is. And she got robbed at gunpoint in her store in 2010. Yeah. And so 2 guys came in, and this is actually right when Oakland Digital started. 2 guys came in, and one had a gun to her head, one had a gun to her chest. And for 30 minutes, they basically terrorized her. Yeah. And so since then, she never was able to kind of get back on her feet. She just retired this year.
Yeah, that would shake anybody up.
Yeah. And you know, it shook me up to the point where I didn't want to continue Oakland Digital.
Were you like mad at somebody, or mad at Oakland? Or?
I was mad that the robbers, these thugs, could be stupid enough to think a furniture store would have cash.
Right.
I'm like, yo, when's the last time you went to even IKEA with cash? I mean, and this is a high end, but you know, it also helped me be more compassionate, have more empathy, understand that young people need opportunities.
Yeah, that's right.
And at the end of the day, it fueled me more. And then it's gotten us to this point of assessing the needs in the community. And of course, now 2016, really pushing forward Bridge for Social Good.
Yeah. That's amazing. Your mom, I think about that sometimes when I'm driving around and, you know, I'm so proud I'm an entrepreneur and I've raised money and all this. You drive down the street, you're like, you know, every dry cleaner, donut shop, whatever.
Sure.
Some guy, some woman started that thing, made it cash flow positive, is dealing with like there's entrepreneurs. It's like I look at my dry cleaner. Like that's pretty.
It's a hustle.
It's pretty impressive.
It's a hustle.
You figured it out. You got your family working there. You're paying bills. You're paying for your family. Like everyone's an entrepreneur. Like we shouldn't really pat ourselves on the back for starting a .com necessarily.
You know, I mean, small business in general, I have a really big heart for. I mean, we're talking about Oakland gentrification, the big G. You know, we support the mom and pops businesses that have been around for 10, 15, 20 years. Something like a Road of Braids. Road of Braids is located right in the heart of now. It's called Hipster Town, uptown Oakland. And she's like one of the remaining businesses there, Black women owned. And you know, how do we keep those businesses going? And unfortunately, they need to get online, get digital.
So San Francisco imported all the hipsters over to Oakland.
Yeah, they're coming. They're coming. You know, the chrome backpacks and the tight jeans with the flannel shirts, and you know, I hate to say it, white guys, and you know, I keep it real. I tell Tim all the time, like Tim Rosenblatt. I always tell people, he's like, if techies could replicate Tim, there would be no tech problem. Like because he's like, Shaun, I don't get this. I don't understand the community. Can I contribute? Can I help? How do I get involved? If every person was like Tim, there would be no problem. And I really mean that because he looks like what I just described. But his heart, his compassion, that is what we need in tech. It's about the employees themselves wanting to give back, wanting to learn, wanting to contribute to society and the communities that they're quote unquote gentrifying.
Yeah, it's tough. I watch it in San Francisco, and I've worked it with different nonprofits like throughout my career, so I kind of get a sense of it's not that easy.
Right.
And there's so in San Francisco, tech companies, including Twitter, but a bunch of tech companies San Francisco has an area it's bad. It's what you call it Skid Row if you were living in the 40s or something. I don't know what you call it. And they've plopped down big, fancy, high-tech companies there with high-paid employees.
Sure.
These areas are the areas where a lot of the services are. A lot of homeless people have sort of mental issues that they're dealing with.
Mental health consumers.
Mental health.
Yeah.
And so the mental health organizations are there and all that. And you kind of watch these interactions of these tech guys walking by these people, just kind of a little oblivious. Like the headphones are in, they're not really watching. If they see what's going on, it's not clear they understand they're watching a pretty severe mental health crisis in some cases. So it's not, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Twitter, and we're actually the only Oakland nonprofit that Twitter has kind of worked with.
That's cool.
For their Friday for Good initiative.
Yeah.
And I do want to shout them out for that. It's every quarter they have all their employees do something for our Friday for Good, essentially. And so they've helped our businesses. They've helped some of their students. We most recently worked with them for Bridge. We had a nice kind of brainstorm session at Twitter. And I say that to say that the employees that I've met are great people, but even some of those employees at Twitter, to avoid some of the areas, they will literally take the muni to avoid walking past people. And I think that's what you're kind of getting to. And I think the only way tech can be more diversified, both with people of color, with women, it's really going to be led by the employees themselves. It's going to take those employees to say, you know what, I think we should have a more diverse team. And it's not going to come from the people that go to the same diversity conferences, you and I all know, diversity in tech, and it's the same tired, what did Khalid say? Dinosaurs that keep talking and talking talking, and they don't want to do anything. I'm like the anti-talk. I'm like, let's just do it.
Exactly.
You know, let's just get it done. Get her done.
So what is the path? So from hip hop budding mogul, you take the fork to Oakland Digital. How did that
Oh man,
starting a nonprofit?
You know, here's the thing: is that like most people that start nonprofits, it's from a CSR perspective, corporate social responsibility. It's like, okay, this company bought that company.
I practically fell asleep just hearing those words.
So we need to start this nonprofit that's going to bridge the digital divide. How are you going to do that? We're going to discount our internet services, and it's like, we're going to give out P4 computers that don't work anymore. We're gonna, very old school archaic solution. So I got to shout out Google.org.
Yep.
Because they're like, Shaun, what you're trying to do is a moonshot.
Yeah.
We have never seen a nonprofit try to do some kind of web app to connect these groups. And it is a freaking moonshot, but that's why we're trying to do it.
And what is Google.org?
Google.org is a philanthropic arm of Google. They have two separate kind of giving arms. One is through the Bay Area Impact Challenge, which is more of a contest, if you will. It's people voting for their favorite causes, which we did not want to be in.
Okay.
And then they also have a Google portfolio.
Yeah.
And what that is they pick 5 or 6 groups each year to make an investment in. And so we're in the Google portfolio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
shout out to Justin.
So they're pretty good.
And Chelsea.
One of the things you get in Silicon Valley that's like the hubris of Silicon Valley is that people will give money, and rather than giving money, they're like, I've got a new idea about how to give money.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're kind of like, these nonprofits, they're professionals, many of them. They've been doing it, aside from Bill Gates and he's very advanced, but...
Oh, yeah, his shit's mind-blowing.
These guys have been like... They're trying to give soup to people who need soup.
Absolutely, yeah.
Your new idea about how to incentivize and motivate... They're there because they're pretty passionate about it.
Yeah,
just give them the money.
It's kind of like it's like the coding thing. If it's hot and it's generating income, they're going to do it. That's the thing is like, oh, we need more engineers. Why? Because we need to hire more engineers. Okay, so let's get people of color in it.
Well,
and it's like, and again, I appreciate the thought, I appreciate the effort, but that. Like, you don't got the answers. That ain't the answer.
Yeah.
Because I just told you 10 times, we're trying to find a coder.
Yeah.
Shaun at odalc.org. Hit me up, SHAUN at odalc.org. We're looking for engineers, specifically of color, going to these groups, and they don't have the answers.
Yeah.
Well, what did you get that $1 million for?
Right. Right.
Well, okay, well, tell me where's the track record of success? Well, we won't see it for 20 years. Well, it's not the answer.
Exactly.
Now, I do give props to anyone, again, trying to make change, and I love it. But hey, I just know what I see on the streets, and that's what we're trying to do here at Oakland Digital. And, Bridge for Social Good, I'm shouting you out right now because I'm like, yo, Kent, can you please hop on this Google Hangout? Friendster was revolutionary. I want Bridge for Social Good to be revolutionary, so who better to have than Kent Lindstrom on the team?
Oakland, where'd the design part come in? So specifically, Oakland Digital.
Yeah.
Let's say I am a customer. What am I? I'm a
small business.
Okay, great.
You're a small business.
And what do I?
Okay,
take me through that.
Yeah. You're a small business, and you've been in business for 10 years. You don't have a logo created. In fact, it's a brush script that you went to when Kinko's existed. They created it for you. Their designer went on Microsoft Word, printed it out and gave it to you.
Yeah.
You don't have any brand guidelines. You don't have a font. You don't have colors. You don't even have a social media presence. You might have a website that was built for free by some company, some DIY site, website. And here's a fire truck. We hear about 5 of these every day.
Oh, yeah. That's good. They're keeping the place from burning down.
Hey, the city. Hey, Oakland keeps it real.
Good work, guys.
Oakland is original, so we keep it original.
That's good.
So you're a business. I've been through worse things than sirens.
Yeah.
So you're a business, and you just are so behind because you don't have the time. You don't have the income to invest in a full-time marketing person. Right. Well, luckily for you, you have Oakland Digital.
Right.
And what Oakland Digital does, we work with 5 local community colleges: Laney, Berkeley City College, Diablo Valley, Chabot, Mission, and we work with their graphic design departments. So every year we go and pitch to these departments and we say, hey, we want you guys to work for Oakland Digital. The first project is Inspire Oakland. Create a billboard for us. And on top of that, we're going to throw 6 of your designs on billboards to inspire the entire city of Oakland. So we have 20 billboards up. Everything from topics like Black Lives Matter, everything from anti-gentrification, everything from the lake. So very PC things too. But it's all created by students. Once they get the bug, I'm a designer. Then we take 10 of them and they intern here at Oakland Digital. So that's what Dawes was one of those interns. And now she's bossing it up, doing work right now for our fundraiser. And that's how you do it. Now, then Bridge for Social Good is the missing element. Yeah. How do we keep that relationship going on longer? How do we cultivate that young person's skills to the point in a year?
Yeah.
Once they have 20 more clients, they're ready for the workforce. That's how you do change. So it's not this, learn this and you'll be a millionaire.
So these are designers, not engineers.
Designers.
Yeah.
100% designers. And I'd say 80% women, 95% people of color. In fact, I tell people we have a diversity problem, so we hired one white guy. And that's really true. And shout out to Andrew. I love Andrew. He's a good guy. But he was our diversity kind of person that we needed to get on board to make it inclusive.
Yeah, well, and not that this is the reason to do anything, but we just went through hiring a designer.
Oh, great.
Oh, well, we outsourced it.
But you still hired one.
It couldn't be less interesting, except like, holy crap, there's money in that.
Oh my gosh.
Because we couldn't figure out how to pay this person enough to get them from the other guy who couldn't figure out how to pay them enough.
UI, user interface, user experience, visual designer, general graphic designer. You start off as a junior graphic designer in the marketing world, art director, creative director, illustrators.
Yeah.
There's tons of things. Even people, shout out to Lisa Tsai, who just joined the Bridge for Social Good advisory team. She's a designer at Facebook. She just started out sketching.
Yep.
So to say an artist can't get a job in tech, Lisa's living proof,
Yeah.
And it's all about the mindset, man. I can't stress that enough. It's how do you get these young people out of their whatever they're thinking the work world is, and how do you make them entrepreneurial minded, but also willing to work in a team.
Yeah.
I was at another panel where the HR heads of Google, Pandora, and Kaiser were at. And the crowd was made up of teachers, and the teachers asked the Google HR person, what are you guys looking for at Google? Every young kid wants to work at Google. I don't know if that's true either. And he said, well, we're looking for, can they speak English well? I mean, think of it, like super fundamental thing. Can they communicate? Can they work in a team? Can they collaborate? Can they collaborate real time in a team virtually? And none of those things were coding or design. So that's kind of what that internship process does. And what we want to build into Bridge is goals. So you complete 5 tasks, great. Now you can get something that's $100. You complete 10, now you get something that's $500. Oh, wait, you're formerly incarcerated? You should build up your portfolio to show your track record that you are trustworthy. So when you pull up the Bridge, BFSG, bridgeforsocialgood.org/Shaun Tai, hey, I had 30 clients in the past year. I've made this much money. Here's who I'm connected to. Here are the businesses I've worked with. Here's my recommendations. Here's my feedback. All these things that we want built, I think can be very revolutionary, but it's not going to be easy. There's a lot of 99 designs. There's things that you can hire a designer. It's for social good for that reason. We want to encourage local economies to blossom from those two.
I do feel like there's a relatively big, I don't know what you call it, like a cold start issue. As we interview people out of colleges, there used to be a thing where you'd go work at like Deloitte or a management training program or something. So you'd kind of get how business worked. Like you kind of got to be there every day and you don't always get your way and like just some basic stuff.
Very fundamental.
And it feels like now we meet people come right out of school and they're really smart and stuff like that, but they're not that oriented to like a business where you're like, we need to get this done. And some of this is fun and some of this is not fun and some of this you don't agree with. But let's get on with it.
What, in your opinion, Kent, makes a good employee?
Well, for me,
that's a deep question.
Energy and passion.
I love that.
Like for me, when somebody shows up and they're like, I'm just so, basically competent, but everyone's competent. You see all these companies like, I want a rock star, I want a genius, I want like what? I don't know.
What's a rock star? Like give them a guitar?
They do drugs and they're,
they have a guitar and
they drink a lot. Like I don't know. Like it's somebody who basically understands it, but is psyched to be there. Because when you're a CEO, the worst is when you've got an employee who's kind of like smart, but they're like, I don't know why we're doing this and low and I can't be in today. I'm tired.
Then what inspires you, Kent? God. What inspires you? What inspires you, man?
Well, so building companies.
Building companies.
It's the most amazing thing to me that somebody like our founded Friendster, founded Nuzzle, Jonathan Abrams, like thinks up shit, puts it on the web, and then all over the world people say my life is better because of your thing. Like that's pretty cool. That's consumer internet.
Sure.
That's just I just think that's really cool.
So when you're building something like Bridge for Social Good, what do you do first?
I mean, you hire people who are excited about it. It seems to me.
And in terms of the actual platform, what do you do? And this is actually advice for your people listening too. So you build this platform, then what?
Well, I mean,
what do? Do you recruit the students? Do you recruit the businesses?
You recruit both. I mean, that's the hard thing. Distribution is the hard thing.
Distribution, right.
And this is the constant. I mean, we deal with it. Everyone deals with it. Like, think about how many apps people actually use of all these thousands of companies. And there's so many beautiful things, beautiful platforms, beautiful ideas that nobody experiences. So there's kind of 2 stages if you think about it. does anybody give a damn about your app, your platform, your product? Like, is there one human being who says, if that was gone, I'd be sad? When Pinterest raised money initially, thousands of people, but not millions. But whoever invested, I think it was Benchmark, the people who were using the crap out of it. And they were like, okay, if these people are using the crap out of it, there's a billion people who use the crap out of it. So if your platform has like one company and one student who's like, this is transformative, you're in good shape. Then distribution is the key. Like if you went to San Francisco and said, have you heard of Oakland Digital? Probably not.
Yeah.
So then you get into the mode of doing what we're doing now. Like the more people hear about it, one podcast, one TV show, one email. Over time, one guy hears about it, two guys, and it's just hard.
And all of a sudden, you have Kent Lindstrom in your office.
And it's yeah,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I noticed they blocked off the streets for me. That was
they did.
But you know what? I think like having been at Friendster, that was a rocket ship. But everything else I've done with this, it's elbow grease. It's like you get, it's like you think about politicians when they're starting out, and they're in Iowa at some coffee shop, and no one's looking at them before they're Bill Clinton. Hey, I got an idea, and then I do it the next day and the next day, and then one day they're at a rally, and then one day they're at something. But if you build it, they will come doesn't really work.
No.
You got to be out there.
I don't want a legacy app, and this is a great. I want to see where we go in a year from now.
Yeah, and it's scary.
It's scary, but I'm excited. I'm stoked.
And the same for careers too. I think kids who figure out that your career is like a political campaign. You're out meeting people and meeting people and meeting people, and it's crazy what paths it can take.
We were just talking about over lunch. The proper way to network.
Oh yeah,
and I can't tell you at these events that I go to, the serial networker.
Yeah,
you know them.
Yeah,
they're at every single event, and they offer absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
I just cannot stand that.
Yeah, it's hard. Like I'm not great at it, but I sense what to do.
And it's number 2, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I wasn't lying. Hey, I'm keeping it real.
Oakland is safe.
Hey, Oakland is real.
Yeah,
Oakland is real. Don't buy that house in West Oakland, y'all. If you ain't ready for it.
Oh, I want to ask you.
If you ain't ready.
Yeah, I want to wrap up on Oakland Digital, and then I ask you a little about Oakland, if I could.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because it fascinates me.
So with it.
But what was the path to Google coming along and giving you this amazing respect, money, but respect too.
Good leadership on Google's part, by the way.
Yeah.
So we had 2 board members, Allison Bernstein and Chelsea Seabron.
Because Google is not in Oakland. It's not based in Oakland. At least they may have an office here.
It's honestly, it's been 6 years on the ground, on the street level, not having the capacity to fundraise, but just doing cool ass shit.
Yep.
Just doing shit that no one can think of. We brought Google to Oakland to our City Hall event to educate entrepreneurs in 2012.
Yep.
When people in Oakland, quite honestly, didn't even care about Google. Now everything, tech in Oakland. We were doing this in 2009.
Yeah.
Get your facts straight, bruh.
Yeah.
We've been doing this since 2009. We've been keeping it real. We've been holding it down in Oakland, and I got to take credit for it. Oakland Digital, we put the stake down. Like we think this digital literacy, this tech stuff is going to be big.
Yeah.
When no one else believed in it. We remember when I rolled up into Ron Dellum's office in 2008, and he was a former mayor. Sorry about that.
Sure.
And I'm like, I got to plug in, and I met actually my laptop into a projector. And they're like, oh. Here's the power AC. Like they didn't even have a projector in the city of Oakland. Now, it just to say like how far we've come.
Yeah.
Mentally as a community, there's hackathons in Oakland. There's the Impact Hub. There's things like that. There's Visco. Shout out to Visco. Joel Flory. He's here. It's like the Instagram app, a better version of Instagram.
Right.
And so this whole idea that Oakland is now tech, it's not tech yet.
Yeah.
I really worry. Personally, this is just my personal opinion. I worry about tech coming to Oakland in the sense that once that person gets robbed at gunpoint, once 2 engineers get robbed at gunpoint, once 3, and it's going to happen.
Right.
And I'm just being real. My mom was robbed in her store. She's been in the community for 45 years.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those growing pains where if the people and the companies, the people running these companies don't respect the community first, and I don't mean by throwing money, because that's been done for decades, but like a Tim, like an Allison, like a Chelsea, they're in these companies that are volunteering long-term, making a real investment, non-monetary, into these organizations, into a community. That's the only way it's going to work. So just by getting the 19th and Broadway building, putting them on the 7th floor.
Yeah.
And never talking to the community, like kind of like SF, a replication.
Yeah.
It's going to be not a good look. Not a good look.
It's interesting. There's two different theories. So one of the things these tech companies do, they move into city centers.
Yep.
Great. That's cool. And then for valid reasons, they have lunch brought in every day, so people don't go out to.
I don't know if the reasons are valid.
Well, for business, they're trying to
keep them in there on their Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
and stuff.
pretty much. Yeah. As I understand it, though, Mark Benioff, who is the chairman of Salesforce, founder of Salesforce,
donor of Oakland Digital, by the way.
Okay, great, and a huge benefactor in San Francisco.
Yeah.
His thesis is actually no, he doesn't want to actually have lunch, and he wants people to go out and spend their money in the local community.
Yeah, I was at this TechCrunch, one of their TechCrunch things. Shout out to TechCrunch. We got a runner-up for their TechCrunch Include initiative, which is helping nonprofits. But I got a ticket to one of their events, and Mark Benioff was presenting at the end.
Great.
They gave him some award. And at the end, he was trying to talk about his 1-1-1 model. It's like 1% equity, 1%.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And he's talking about giving back and no claps, like crickets.
Interesting.
And I give him so much props because every time he speaks, I don't care if people think he's legitimate or not. I know he's legit.
Yeah.
He's always talking about giving back. He's always talking about just mentally. He gave a cool story about, I think it's Oracle before, right? He's working at Oracle. He said, I was driving a Ferrari in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel fulfilled till now I'm giving back. Giving back legitimately makes him feel fulfilled. Shout out to that.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it.
And there's the thing I like about him too. A lot of times, tech people think a lot of themselves, and they try to solve global problems, which is important.
Very important.
Health in Africa and all kinds of things. But Mark Benioff is also like, like right here at home.
Yeah,
it ain't perfect. So
Benioff Children's Hospital, Oakland.
Yeah, right. So he's like, before you give money all over, also give money to figuring out, because it's more. These problems halfway around the world that you're not involved in. Oh, you don't think about it.
Yes.
How you deal with a terminally, mentally ill, homeless person who's indigent. Now you got a challenge.
He was brought up something else is that a lot of people don't understand the Occupy and the Black Lives Matter movement.
Okay.
It's very scary to a lot of people in general. And I will say that...
Are those all related?
I would say that it's standing up for people that don't have voices.
Okay, right.
Standing up for injustices. I will say... we had our window smashed. We've had tons of windows smashed all over because during Occupy. That's shitty.
Yeah.
But getting murdered is shittier.
Yeah.
And I will say what it did was it sparked and evoked conversation, what we're having right now, which is very, very important. Why I'm bringing it up right now. That's what the movement's doing. I would never have brought this up.
Yeah. So
here's for everyone that doesn't understand why people are marching for Black Lives Matter, why people are pushing for that. So I'm on the corner here at the Vietnamese restaurant, 1 block from here. And I'm sitting there with 3 of my colleagues, and I look out the window and I see clearly a lady in her 50s, very mentally distraught, makeup all over her face, mental health consumer, a bag with a bunch of recycled bottles. And then the owners are like, speaking in Vietnamese, like, get her out of here. And, I'm watching, and they call the police. The police come down. And I have to tell you, Kent, these were the best police I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah.
They waited. They were very polite to her. Yep. People had cell phone. I had my cell phone out ready to go.
Yeah.
Point is that after 30 minutes, they didn't lay a hand on her. They treated her with respect. Yeah. She left. She did cry because it was very hurtful for her, but she didn't get attacked. She didn't get even a hand on her. They called another woman police officer. The point of me bringing that up is 10 years ago, that probably wouldn't have happened like that.
Yeah.
The patience, the compassion, allowing her to be who she is.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that these movements do, is it brings attention to injustices and make sure they don't happen again.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. Like, bad cops are the worst, for sure.
Right.
But some of these good cops, I saw something like that in San Francisco recently where somebody was having a thing, clearly mentally ill, saying things that I wouldn't be able to cope with. I'd be
Absolutely.
like, oh, screw you.
Yeah.
But 3 cops standing at the respectful distance, speaking calmly, like, Jesus.
Yeah, and
good
so
for you guys.
And again, it is a part of the digital revolution.
Yeah,
because everything's so real time. We know the whole story, Twitter, etc.
Yeah.
I'm very neutral because I have to be neutral because we're a nonprofit. We can't take sides. We can't be politics.
Yeah,
and all that. But my heart says it's good that we talk about things that make us feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so shout out to anyone doing it correctly and really all for the Black Lives Matter movement.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Let me finish up on this. I want to ask you about Oakland.
Yeah. Well, Black Lives Matter is Oakland.
Well, just Oakland. So for those of you who don't live in the Bay Area, you do.
No.
San Francisco is great. It's 20 minutes from Oakland by the freeway. And it's really nice, but it's freaking freezing and foggy most of the time.
Yeah.
Oakland, across the bay, is on the hills, beautiful views, beautiful city. Like why isn't Oakland more inevitable?
I think Oakland
and everyone in San Francisco can't find housing to save their lives.
Yeah.
And can't seem to kind of put the math together.
No, I mean everyone that I mentioned, Allison, Chelsea, they're all not they're Oakland transplants, right? So they do live in Oakland now. Yeah. Why do they choose Oakland? Because it's original as hell, man. Like it's the hip hop history here is dope. The cultural movements is dope. They're dope. We're in Oakland, Chinatown.
Right.
Super dope place to be. East Oakland, West Oakland, North Oakland, Sobranic Park, and all these beautiful places with lots of history. But it is Oakland. It is the town. And I would implore that anyone that comes to Oakland, I love Oakland. I am Oakland. I inspire Oakland. I want to promote Oakland. But in the words of young people, they're like, people haven't seen the whole Oakland. Right. So if you don't know the whole Oakland, Lake Merritt's not Oakland.
Mm-hmm. Lake Merritt's the nice part.
It is quote unquote the nice part that they put a lot of money into. A nice part. So I mean, I love Oakland. So don't get me wrong, and I encourage people to come here. But like what you're doing, Kent, you're asking about it. You're interested in it. I just want everyone that does come to Oakland to really take some time to understand Oakland, the good and the bad. And then you can make an informed decision. It's like Amazon, right?
Right.
Why do they have third-party marketplaces? To make the best decision. Yeah. Come here, make the best decision, invest. Don't just go to Lake Merritt and don't just go eat in Uptown. Invest in some of those parts.
Okay, that's what I do. I got to admit, I come over here. Okay. I'm like, today I like lunch at some Vietnamese place, but I come over here, I go to like some bar. It's the most lovely thing I've ever been to. The weather's nice. I'm like, why am I living in San Francisco?
And I appreciate the honesty, man. It's... I think that's cool that you do that, but I think it's also cool that you're asking me, and I think that's the biggest difference. It's I always think like Tim. Why do I love Tim? Because he's like you. He's like you asking questions. You're admitting you don't know it, and you want to know.
Like, what does it get a little more real at night, or what is the?
I would just say that the underserved and under-resourced communities in Oakland have not seen the benefits of what we see here.
Right.
And the benefits that we see here are kicking people. Like, for example, rent's going from 1,000 now 3,000. My brother's a broker, and shout out to Wilson Tai, and he sees the price increases and all of that, and he tells me all the time those are pushing out and gentrifying people. Okay, and so I'm very sensitive about that too, because we help a lot of under-resourced people, and people tell us, man, this doesn't even feel like West Oakland anymore. I had one of our board members who lives in East Oakland say they saw hipsters in sandals on bikes in East Oakland, and we're talking about in the part that's like they call it the Deep East, which is like traditionally very black, very Latinos and the Fruitvale. These areas are being gentrified. So again, if you're just riding past this community on a bike and sandals, people won't like you. Yeah. If you shop in that neighborhood,
same in San Francisco.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like all it takes is a little compassion from you. All it takes is talking to people. Yeah. All it takes is understanding the history. Just like rappers, new rappers. You know what they say? Mm-hmm. Or the OGs they call them, like the older rappers say. You got to learn your history, bro. Like you got to pay some dues.
Show some respect.
Show some respect.
Yeah.
You just said it. And so, I got my wristband here, respect. Show some respect to the real Oakland. And then you can go to the lake and kick it.
All right, so what's the great part of what's the place I should be moving in? Like in San Francisco, you should probably move to the Bayview now. It's inevitable.
I haven't been looking into the housing.
What's the real estate tip?
Oh man, you got to ask my brother for that. Wilson Tai. Google Wilson Tai and he'll tell you. I would just leave the whole Oakland thing and just say, I love Oakland. It's very original. Yeah, respect that originality.
So, what's the if you are from San Francisco or you're visiting San Francisco and you're going to come to Oakland? Yeah. What do you do? You come to the Fox Theater for a show?
Yeah. Or you probably go to Uptown Oakland. You hit up the bar scene. Okay. You come out here, you hit up the lake. And lake and Uptown are super. First Friday is another one.
I mean, is there anything you could go to that's a little more native Oakland than that?
Yoshi's is an OG spot. I know the owner Yoshi. Yeah, she's cool. I
gotta spend
Jack London's another big one where they have a lot of things. I mean, I'm not saying come here and you have to do something, but again, just come with respect.
Yeah,
just like anyone, it's our community. The key word is our community.
That's great.
So we gotta show respect to our community.
Respect. That's great. I feel like we've done this thing. What do you think?
I think so too.
This is good. This has been fantastic.
Oh man,
I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to.
It's. We just interviewed. I personally interviewed the president of Laney College, which is the biggest community college here in Oakland, and I asked her for advice. And she told me, I would tell everyone that that think they don't have the answers, that the answers already lie inside you. You just got to pull those out. And I think that's the same that I would tell everyone else. Is like, you have the answers in you.
Yeah.
But how do you make sure that people know you have the answers? How do you make sure that how you can vocalize that?
Yeah.
And this was the best interview ever.
It was.
And I think
broadcasting history.
Bridge for Social Good, I know is the answer to connect young people that are creatives to some real opportunity while helping the businesses get some stuff they really need to survive and thrive in this digital economy.
So the housekeeping, how do people get in touch or connect to these things?
Man,
we've given you a lot of words.
At Shaun_Tai, at SHAUN_Tai, TAI. You can call me 925-297-9370. I have it on all my social media anyways. Cool. I just feel like I don't even care. Hit me up.
Yeah. So Shaun Tai is SHAUN.
Yes.
And then Tai
is
TAI.
And then the underscore in between them. So Shaun_Tai. Google Oakland Digital. Please, if you're an engineer or you want to get involved with Bridge for Social Good, definitely get a hold of me as well. And
cool.
And that's basically it, man. And I appreciate what you're doing. I look up to you because we need this to be a Friendster, if not better.
Well, it's going to be.
Yeah, and my advice for everyone out there, again, I think the key word here is show respect.
Cool.
Respect wherever you go. Respect the people you work with, and also teamwork makes the dream work.
All right. All respect. Thank you so much for doing this. This has been the Something Venture podcast. I'm Kent Lindstrom. Thank you very much.
Peace.